All right, hello everybody. I'm here with my friend Allison. Allison, say hi. Well, she's driving right now, and so there can be a little bit of spotty connections. So I'll try not to have like long, awkward periods of silence.
Hi, the video's kind of choppy already.
We'll do what we can. So this video, I kind of want to give anybody that has any sort of initial pondering or any sort of information that they want to know this year in their life. It can be literally anything in a person's life. Like when people come to me and they ask for readings, they ask, should I be dating this person? Should I be putting my resources towards work for this year to make as much as this year? Or my mom has some health issues. What can I do to help her? Literally anything in a person's life can be examined with Chinese astrology. So I know that before I started recording this call with you, we were talking about how you're trying to put all of your energy and initiative into your business this year. But I know in a couple of our private conversations, we've talked about some of the unique challenges you have energetically with this year as an earth pig in general. And so maybe we could go off of that, but really the sky is the limit. So this is a chance to showcase what like a real customer could present to me, and we can discuss and go through there. So if you have any question that we could look into that you want to share with people, that we could.
I do have a question because I don't. It's necessary to put myself into a container or really commit to something, and since my chart is long
She's saying watery.
to do.
Yeah, so in your chart, so Allison has something really interesting in her chart. First off the bat, we should mention her sign. So Allison's going to cover up her face. This red sign right here, whenever I look up any Chinese astrological chart, the red sign indicates the particular perspective that a person's coming from. So in Western astrology, we have our signs, right? Like Aries and Taurus and Cancers and things like that. In Chinese astrology, there's basically one of 10 different signs that a person can have. And each of those signs has its own unique perspective and its own kind of jam that it brings to the table of all the elements. And there are 5 elements. I know that some people are familiar with what's called the 5 elements. In Chinese astrology, we call them 5 phases because it's a little bit of a better definition. But Allison, for lack of a better way to put it really bluntly, her entire life has been really prostrating so much energy. So let's take a look right here. So, and we've gone through this with you a little bit, Allison, but you're a yin metal sign with very little metal and water. And so water to you would mean working a lot. So, and if you think about how water is as a substance, it's very liquid and visceral. It moves around, changes, it morphs, it adapts. So you've got a really good sense of how to use this. And I know we've talked before about like your baby or your kind of signature that you feel you want to give to the world, like it's your creation, it's your output. It's for you, it's much more a sense of it's much more of a personal thing to you that you provide to the world than it is like just strictly working for some sort of material attainment. Although you do have a little bit of it, but it's primarily just this big wall of water. In one sense, in a general sense, water never ever wants to be boxed in to any sort of definition, to any sort of space at all. In fact, water's greatest asset is to break through walls, to break through barriers, to find a different way so as not to get stuck in a rut. That's exactly the value that water has to give. And in people, and in personalities, you have that unique that you can use to your advantage for sure. So we were talking about on the site and with you and with a lot of other people too about the new pig year, because this pig in 2019 is an earth pig. And I wrote an article on our blog on the site. You can go check it out, www.revealingfate.com. But in this article, I talk about how this year's earth pig is really peculiar, or let's say temperamental is a better word. So I'll divulge a little bit on this. Oh, was that okay? So the pig itself, just in general, as a zodiac animal, is very watery. In fact, its primary element is water. Its secondary element is wood. But the main driving force behind the pig as an animal, as a personality, is water. If you examine your typical pig in its environment, like a wild boar or something like this, or even feral hogs, when you let them roam, you can really see the personality of a pig come out. But it's one where they forage, they look around, they're always looking for something, always searching. And if you present them a really big obstacle that they have to use some unique problem solving to get around, the pigs can do it. They're really good at that. Very abstract thinkers, stuff like that. They keep it moving. So this year's earth pig has a little bit of some challenges that come with that natural water energy, because earth, as we can know, earth invades water, so it goes after water. Water's biggest kryptonite is the earth energy, and the earth energy can represent in people things like being down to earth. There's that saying, like people who are receptive, who are really, who have depth to their soul, who have weight to their words, who like to listen. And, if you invite them over at parties, they're the kinds of people that hang around and don't really leave. Or, they could fall asleep right there. They could be comfortable. They could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. These are pretty common traits among people who are very earthy. So this kind of energy is very, very different from water, because where water is all about movement, momentum, finding a way to do something, earth is all about, hey, let's reel it back now. Let's not go everywhere. Let's bring it home. Let's drop it. Let's make it something. So right off the bat, in general, you've got both of these energies that are definitely affecting you in 2019. And right now, since we're so early into the year, the water element is still quite prevalent. As you can see outside, it's still pretty frosty and full of condensation that's fallen from the sky. So it's going to take a while for that to kind of, play its part, act itself through, and then usher in the other elements for the rest of the year. But you in particular, Allison, have to be really careful about the changing of seasons, because especially where we're at the northern hemispheres or closer to the poles, when there's more than 2 seasons, we've got fall, spring, summer, and winter, and not like a dry season or a wet season. When there's that much change happening in one year, those transitionary periods between fall and winter, spring and summer, have a lot of earth. So it brings in a ton of cosmic energy from earth, because earth, in a greater sense, a sense beyond people and personalities, is one of canvas, or we can say platform for things to go up, for things to play on top of. When you go and see a play or a movie, or always a screen showing you what is happening, or a stage that the actors can stand on so it's possible at all. That kind of sentimentality is that of earth. So the reason earth is not the best thing for you is that you got to harness all that water. And what this can mean is, maybe in this year you're going to find a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of prospective business partners, etc., that are going to come to you, and they're going to have a lot of depth of soul. They're going to want to slow things down. They're going to want to collect certain things and let it have weight, that kind of energy is really a kink in your jam, because your jam is all about, being quick, being responsive, going and doing what is needed, not what is ideal. There's a difference, see? So ideal always tries to trump proactivity. You can see it in even in politics. You can see it. People who kind of align more to a particular kind of energy, they come at everything and they're like, well, we've got to slow down, we've got to scale back, we've got to look at what's right in front of us and be receptive. Come on, damn it. And they're right from their perspective and from other people that share that perspective. But from other perspectives, it can be very, very different. And so this year, you're going to perhaps be challenged. It's likely that you're going to be challenged by people that are close to you to try and collect you or be like, well, just hold on a sec. Can you just help me with this here? I know you're on your path. I know you're doing something over here. You're trying to slingshot yourself, but can you just slow down for a bit and help me where you can? You're really susceptible to this, because these types of people not only come to you with this kind of mojo, but they also, in their perspective, feel like they are supporting you and they're helping you form a greater sense of yourself. And in some respect, they can. In other words, to say, Earth will support metal, because, again, in 5 phases, Earth creates metal when it dies. So, and you're a metal sign, right? So Earth signs and or earthy people that have a lot of Earth in their chart are going to be naturally inclined to want to feel like they have to support you, or they have to become a safety net, or they have to become some sort of cheerleading squad where you need them. And in some sense of their perspective, yes, to say that their Earth will definitely support your metal, but what they don't see and what you see from your perspective is that sense of support and community, that, for lack of a better word, suffocation for you surrounding, will directly impose the product that you can create from your heart and your soul and your higher intelligence. It directly impedes it. So that's where the temperamentality of the year as a whole plays its part in your story from your set of eyes. And this is a thing that I really want to showcase to everybody that's interested in Chinese astrology, is that it's so personal and it's so individual. And I see lots of talk, especially in the West, not so much in China, but here and in Europe and Australia, we talk about, astrology and zodiac as if all dragons will experience blah, 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 blah. Or look out, ox people, if you were born in 1960 whatever, you got to be careful of this and this and this. And it's so misleading to present what is capable with all forms of astrology with that kind of a package. That's my personal take on it. And so I want to showcase. And so thank you for doing this, by the way. I know I'm totally just blah, 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 hounding you over because I'm earthy.
No,
so
yeah,
I've
good information. Yeah, I really enjoy your perspective because I can see that, in our dynamic, but also in the dynamic with me, with other people who are coming on board now, and it's challenging because it's grounding me in, so making the gravitational pull of the ideas, really sink into the structures of relationships, with other people, which is challenging because I have a vision that I own, right? And I have ownership of, and so it changes as other people's perspectives come into play, and so it's challenging, to use their energy dynamics to implement what needs to get done for me. And so, yes, very valuable information. And so,
absolutely,
for sure.
Cool. There's one more thing I want to say too, and just bouncing off of that, what you just said about with other people and how to kind of act when you have that unique kind of challenge. So in Chinese astrology, and I'm showing my screen here, so on the left they can see, and you can see it too once we publish this. But so right here, everybody, what I'm highlighting, this is the day. So it contains the two characters within this pillar itself. It's called 4 pillars because there's 4 aspects of a person's birth, right? There's the year, month, day, and then the time that they're born. But within each segment, there's these 2 characters. The top characters are the heavenly stems, and the bottom characters are earthly branches. So when we're talking about ethereal energy, that's typically on the top, and when we're talking about manifesting raw, real flesh and blood stuff on this plane, we're usually talking about these bottom characters, which are also the one of 12 Chinese zodiac animals. So with Allison and with lots of other people, we are typically most reliant on utilizing the energy that we have closest to us. And by closest to us, I mean usually it's our month pillar and our day pillars themselves. So with these 2 pillars in mind, it's almost, I would say, at least 2/3 of all the energy and 2/3 of what we can really extrapolate on in diving into any individual's 4 pillars astrology. So with Allison, I'll translate for everybody here, on this month pillar, she's got water, water, water everywhere. So on the top with her heavenly stem, she's got Gui, I think it's Gui. No, it's Gui. Gui is yin water. So from her perspective as a yin metal sign, this water is like her prostration in the sense that she wants to give something to the world, but it's moderate. However, on the bottom, the earthly energy is a different kind of water. It's a pig, and the pig branch here, the earthly branch, is represented by yang water and yang wood, like I was mentioning earlier in the call. So all in all, in this month pillar, the energies that's closest to her happens to be conflicting each other. So when you have yin water in the presence of yang water, they compete for the same domain. So this means that you can easily be conflicted with the people and the projects that you engage with because you don't know how really to manifest them with particular packages. And by that, I can say, so you come up with an idea, you are inspired by somebody or something or some idea, right? And you have an idea about how you can create something from that. And you have inner conflict within that dialogue you have within yourself, because you wonder, okay, it's got to be watery, it's got to be moving, it's got to be fluid, it's got to be nourishing, but is it like a torrential rapids that's just like slamming through everything and just boom, like a dam's just been released kind of thing? Or is it going to be like, hey, let's just have like a cool little pond in the backyard where we can reflect on things and have it be nurturing and cool. It doesn't have to boom, ram straight through. So these 2 kinds of waters compete for that kind of perspective on how the energy needs to manifest. Does it need to be yin or does it need to be yang? So those 2 kinds of water, whenever they meet, which they do in your month pillar, will definitely compete with one another. So, as is the case with people that I've read, if they have pillars in their 4 pillars that have the same element, but the 2 different types at the same time, and especially if that's replicated to the other pillars next to that pillar, they're easily constipated people. That's a good word I use, because they have ideas, they want to go here, but then they can see another perspective and they stop themselves in their tracks and they tighten up and they're like, oh shit, oh my God, I can't go forward because, for example, let's say I want to make a sandwich, right? That's my inspiration. Or I make any kind of inspiration, but when you talk about I want to make a sandwich, there's two different ways you can make a sandwich, right? There's one where you can stand up, run into the kitchen, just be like, go, go, go. I'm going to make the sandwich, whatever. And whatever comes out, boom, it's going to be awesome because I was attentive to it. Or do you want to, let's make a sandwich. Let's go into the kitchen calmly. Let's remember what ingredients we have and still make it happen, whatever, but we don't need to bust through with such force to make it happen. So these two varying perspectives of yin and yang within the same element cause a very unique kind of inner dialogue that is hesitant. Whew, that's hard to explain. But another way that I... Yeah.
You did it very well, especially the constipation piece. That's beautiful. So thank you for that.
Beautiful constipation.
Yeah.
Another way that I can put it, that I know this is a difficult concept for a lot of people to understand, and it was really hard for me to understand at first. I was like, okay, what the heck? Because in my chart, I've got yang fire at every corner, like enticing me the wrong way. Because I myself am a yin fire sign. So the situation is kind of like this kind of an analogy where, let's say there's this orphan who has just ran away from his orphanage and he's on the streets, right? And he's totally disenfranchised by everybody that he used to know. He's on the street, he's crying, he's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But along comes this gang of kids, you know, these troublemakers, and they take him under their wing and they teach him how to lie, cheat, steal, and survive with so much brotherly love. This kind of capturing, kind of like, we're going to put you in a sack and run with you, or we both see eye to eye, but holy crap, your way is really stupid. You gotta have my way to do it, but we can both see eye to eye. That kind of thing is precisely what happens when you have the same element with the yin and the yang types meeting each other. You know, like the movie Slumdog Millionaire, that comes to my mind right away. There's this movie, yeah.
I do know it, but I don't have any of it in reference on the top of my head.
It's an awesome movie because it shows like this guy and his brother have a really hard life, and they lose their mother, they lose everything, and they become poor on the streets in India. And him and his brother both have, you get the sense that they both have the same kind of love within their heart. They have the same kind of care for each other and way to view the world, but they have really, really different ways of going about achieving that. And his brother becomes really corrupt and mean and starts working with crime lords, and he moves away from that and he follows his dream and he finds the woman that he falls in love with, and he, you know, makes all of these great things happen along the way. And so it's just such a cool movie to show exactly this that I'm trying to explain with what you've got here. Is it's like a lot of people have that, and it's hard to make a decision sometimes, and it's hard to just say, you know what, it doesn't matter what they think of me, I still love them, I still care about them, I still see eye to eye with them, and I still relate to them, but they're making a different choice, I'm making my own choice. For me to make my choice.
Yeah, I like the visualization of the pooling water, the pond, because that's kind of foreign to me. I raised 2 kids by myself, work 40 hours, and run multiple businesses, and I'm writing a book and publishing it right now. So I don't understand that.
A really cool book, by the way.
In the middle of winter, when I can't ground in, especially in the middle of winter when I can't ground in anywhere. I don't have pooling water available, you know. So yeah, I think a little bit of that could go a long way.
I do think that, see now everybody, we can look at a part in your chart when you go down here with some people when they want to go really in depth in the readings. We look at a year by year basis. This right here, this column right here is something called the 10-year cycle, the Da Yun, which is also translated as the mandate of heaven. These are 10-year blocks that vary from person to person, depending on a lot of different variables. But basically, people go through different chunks of time that overlap over each other. And those combinations create different kinds of challenges and opportunities. And so right now for Allison in 2019, all of her earthly branches are going to transform into wood. And for her, that's actually a good sign because it means that she can have the possibility of yielding the resources that she has available to her, but the manner in which she's going to do so is that of wood, and wood, from her perspective as a metal sign, means work, material possession, material acquirement. Is that a word? Acquiring material stuff. That's not a word. But if you want to acquire something materially in this world, like money or resources, man, oh man, do you have a lot of potential, especially once spring is fully grounded here. You're going to have an awesome time branching out everywhere. Because remember, I was telling you, wood is multiplication or exponentiation. That's a better word. Exponentiation, growth. 2 becomes 4, becomes 8, becomes 16. This kind of reaching out, trying new things, collecting that information, organizing it. Just like how education is, we have this concept of higher education as being this very wooden type of institution, and it is. Just like a library is a wooden institution. You go in, you've got all this stuff, and it's all categorized and analoged, and it's like, it gives you the idea of wisdom, right? And so oftentimes in Chinese astrology, if you guys are researching things online and they give you general bits of information here and there, wood energy, especially yang wood energy, is often attributed to like a very astute, like grounded type of energy where people, are very educated and very wise and very well-mannered and tempered, this kind of thing. So you have that as a lot of potential this year.
Yeah, I feel like today Mars went into Taurus yesterday. So like all that Taurus energy I told you I was connecting with, it's kind of showing us what it's going to be when your Uranus goes into Taurus on the 6th of March. So we're getting a glimpse. Are you connecting with that too? Like really grounding in?
Oh, absolutely.
That we're experiencing? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in Western astrology, my sun sign is a Taurus, so I absolutely feel that as a Taurus. And I think it's pretty cool that a lot of people are latching onto it and really going outside of their comfort zone to harness whatever potential this energy means for them. And for you, yeah, it's a challenging time right now, but, you've got so much water that you can probably resist it anyway, as long as you keep yourself, you're cutting out. What's the last thing you heard? Let's see. Live videos,
I can hear
people.
all of you. So I can really, I can deal with a lot of stress. So I'm taking it well, but I'm really ready for that pond, though. Like, really.
You're ready for the pond?
But I have to put all this wisdom into that wood, and create, a platform and substantiate all this wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And so, really...
be mindful. I was going to say, be mindful, too, that all of your endeavors, whether personal, artistic, or business-oriented, have the potential to kind of get in each other's way. And by that I mean you've got so much giving output energy. You know, if you were a water container, like once you release the spigot, there'd be like tons and tons of information and stuff coming out, right? Because you have a ton to offer. That stuff can very easily feed your work. So the water can nourish the wood, meaning what was initially artistic and personal and close to you can easily transform into something that's a little bit more distant and more along the lines of, I'm going to get this from material possession instead. So just be mindful of that, what you actually want. Ooh, I hope she got that. If you actually want work, or if you want like life work, personal work. Yeah, maybe she's cutting out. You're cutting out a lot here. Do you want to kind of... What was that?
Sorry.
No, that's fine. She's driving right now, everybody. She's going through patches here and there. Always on the move, those watery women they are. But maybe it's a good time to kind of end the call. But I want to say thank you so much, Allison. I really appreciate this. And everybody check out Allison on her page as well. Do you want to give any shout outs or anything like that? Like to your site, your initiatives, projects?
Yeah, my book is called Constellation of Psyche, an Aquarian Look at Depth Psychology. And it's out on May 4th. And I really kind of quantify depth psychology and astrology and put it into really simple terms. So intellectually stimulating and challenging to everything that's in place right now. So,
absolutely. I want to add too that everybody, Allison is really analytical, and I really appreciate that about her. She really takes the time to look at all these moving components, and that's something that I share as well, being a very analytical person. So if you dig my kind of reading, you're definitely going to love what she has to offer too, because it's really just brain food for those kinds of people who just eat that stuff up. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
All right, well, I better let you go so you can be on your way. I'm a pretty earthy dude, so.
Thank you for all your information. It's helpful.
Yes, thank you
Bringing
again.
me down to earth. I can feel it.
I hope I don't soak it up though. So don't let that kind of depth put you into a place. You don't belong to a place.
Well, at least you know that. I think we'll be really good, as long as we understand each other on these terms. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really cool. Thanks for connecting.
All right, thanks a lot, Allison. Many blessings. All right, guys, that was it. If you like this video, make sure to let me know. Like it, make comments, share it with your friends. I'm kind of new to this, so I'm just going to show it to you as raw and real as I can, but this is what I'm doing. It's really helped me a lot. I'd love to kind of connect with you all and see where this kind of goes. So, thanks again. Talk to you later.